What's up, y'all? It's J. Calderon, Stand Clear Entertainment, and we're about to get into this week's boxing talk. Over the weekend, we saw the return of Puerto Rican legend Miguel Cotto, 4-division world champion, coming back after a 2-year layoff to take on Japanese warrior Yoshihiro Kamegai. Now, this fight was a fight that a lot of people didn't get to watch. It was on HBO, and a lot of people was watching the Floyd Mayweather versus McGregor fight. We're going to get into that in a little bit. But this fight right here was definitely the best fight of the night. It was a fight that was highly entertaining, toe-to-toe action from the opening bell. Miguel Cotto came out there ripping off his shots. Kamegai was a guy that was a bigger man, a very strong opponent that came forward all night long. This guy was putting a lot of pressure on Miguel Cotto, backing Miguel Cotto up against the ropes and ripping shots to the body on Cotto. He landed some very good right hands on Miguel Cotto, but Cotto showed that beautiful footwork to spin off the ropes and keep Kamegai turning throughout this whole fight. Cotto was landing that jab and really unloading on everything that he had. He was banging to the body with some good body work. He was landing the beautiful jab, and he was also ripping hooks to the head of Kamegai, and Kamegai had a great chin. This guy took a lot of big shots that Miguel Cotto was hitting him with some beautiful uppercuts right up the middle and also the straight right hand. Miguel Cotto could not miss against this guy because this guy was right there to be hit all night long. So it was toe-to-toe action, back and forth. I didn't really have him losing throughout this whole entire fight. It was more like a shutout for 12 rounds. Cotto kept the tempo going, and he just had great stamina and tremendous heart that he showed in this fight. It was a very good fight for the night, and it's a shame that a lot of people didn't get to see it. One of the last 2 fights that Miguel Cotto is going to fight this year in 2017 before he retires, because he has said that he is going to retire at the end of the year. So he signed his 2-fight deal with Golden Boy Promotions. He is now the 154-pound WBO junior middleweight champion. For just a second time, he has won a junior middleweight crown, has won titles in 4 different weight classes. The only Puerto Rican male fighter that has done that. We know that Amanda Soriano is the only Puerto Rican that has won it in 5 different weight divisions. Miguel Cotto is a true legend, a future Hall of Famer once he retires, and now he looks to his next opponent in December, and we look to see who he's gonna fight next. Now, I know that Miguel Cotto is talking about waiting for the winner of Canelo Alvarez versus Gennady Golovkin. That is a big money fight for him. That is the biggest fight that he can get to go out into the sunset. Win or lose, Miguel Cotto has always given you great fights. He's a guy that has always put it on the line. He's always been a risk taker, and he has shown why he's one of the best fighters in the world for many years. And Miguel Cotto, whatever you think of him, you know, he has 5 losses, but he's been in the ring with all the best fighters of his generation throughout the 16 years of his career. He's given everything for Puerto Rico, and he will go down as one of Puerto Rico's greatest fighters. Now we wait and see, who will he fight? I know he wants to have another shot at Canelo Alvarez, which is a fight that I don't think he could win, even if they were to meet again, and if Canelo could get past Triple G. But if Triple G wins, and seeing him against Miguel Cotto, that's going to be a very hard fight against Triple G, because Triple G will most likely murder Miguel Cotto. So I really wouldn't want to see that fight. I'm a big fan of both of those guys, but you know, even though it's pretty interesting, it's also a slaughter death match for Miguel Cotto. You know, Cotto is not going to most likely defend this WBO title at 154 pounds, so we have to see who he's going to fight. I know that the backup plan is David Lemieux. There's been a lot of talk about Golden Boy matching David Lemieux against Miguel Cotto. Cotto has never made 160 pounds. He'll probably get close to about 157. David Lemieux can't really go under 160. They'll probably do it at 160 and see what happens. But that's an interesting fight. That's a fight that I believe Miguel Cotto can win, because David Lemieux is just like a guy like Kamegai. He's right there to be hit. He's going to come forward and put a lot of pressure on you, but he's a very big puncher, a hard-hitting puncher. Can Miguel Cotto take the power of David Lemieux? We know Cotto has better stamina. We know Cotto has better boxing skills. He has better defense, and he can also bang. But his power against these bigger guys, like you saw against Kamegai, who has a good chin, is not going to be really effective. Cotto's going to have to go 12 hard rounds with a guy like David Lemieux, but I believe he could pull out that victory, and that will be the end of his career. So my hat's off to Miguel Cotto. Congratulations on becoming a world champion once again. I look forward to his fight in December. Hopefully it's going to be in New York City and I could go there and watch him fight for the very last time. Now moving along to the biggest fight in combat sports history between Floyd Money Mayweather and Conor McGregor. This was a fight between UFC, MMA versus boxing. And this was a very big fight that a lot of fans hated and loved it at the same time. Everyone definitely tuned in for this fight and watched this fight, whether it was streamed, whether they ordered the $100 pay-per-view, whether they went to the bar just like me to watch this fight, because everyone came out. All the celebrities, it wasn't a sold-out event like the way Triple G and Canelo was at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, but it was a fight where there was a big crowd on hand. A lot of people was in Las Vegas, especially from Ireland. They showed a lot of support for their UFC star and Irishman Conor McGregor. I got to give Conor credit because he came over to boxing. He crossed over. He tried to learn the sport very quickly. This was his first professional fight. They glamorized the sparring sessions with Paulie Malignaggi. They really didn't show the entirety. But, Conor McGregor held his own, and he went in there showing a lot of heart. He gave the best that he could. For 3 rounds, he did very well, landing on Floyd Mayweather. But Mayweather fought a different style of fight. He wanted to make up for the Pacquiao fight, which was quite a boring fight, and he clearly could outbox Conor McGregor throughout this fight, using the shoulder roll and also using that foot movement to stay away and just pop shots all night long. But he kind of stood in the pocket throughout the fight, and he was right there to be hit by Conor McGregor, but he knew that Conor didn't have those skills to really do that much damage. We didn't see the punching power of Conor McGregor, and they were using the 8-ounce gloves that was a little bit smaller than the 10-ounce gloves that they were going to use at 154 pounds, meeting in the junior middleweight limit. And that really didn't do anything for Conor McGregor. We didn't see that hard-hitting punching power. Like I said before, Floyd Mayweather has a great chin, not only with great defense, but his chin is very good. He's been hit by some hard-hitting punches in boxing throughout his career. Floyd Mayweather just took control of this fight, and he never looked back. He started taking it to Conor McGregor. He was unloading on shots, working the body with that jab, and also just hitting him with the check left hook. It was a beautiful display by Floyd Mayweather. Pretty entertaining fight, I gotta say. It was a good fight. I enjoyed the fight a lot, and it was a great sporting event. We have seen guys like James Toney and also Ray Mercer cross over to MMA and fight in the octagon against guys like Randy Couture. And those fights were nowhere near on the level of this fight right here, or not even on the level like Holly Holmes, who started out her career as a kickboxer, but was more well known as a world champion boxer, crossed over to MMA to take on one of the biggest stars in UFC, Ronda Rousey. A lot of people can say whatever they want to say about Ronda Rousey, but she was a world champion, she was undefeated, and she was going through women left and right quite easily. She had a decent stand-up game, but she could not compete with somebody like Holly Holmes, who had the experience of boxing and kickboxing to use that technique in the octagon. And that was a very big fight. That was bigger than all the other fights because Ronda was such a huge figure and the face of women's UFC. And that's why that fight was so significant in Holly beating Ronda Rousey and becoming champion, because boxing fans embraced that win. No matter how she won that fight using her kickboxing technique, she still was a world champion boxer that crossed over to the octagon and beat one of their biggest stars. And it was a shockwave that went through social media that everyone went crazy for. And now this fight right here, it was a UFC star crossing over to boxing, and Conor McGregor learning the technique of boxing in a very short span to take on the greatest boxer of this generation in Floyd Money Mayweather, who was out of the ring for almost 2 years. He's 40 years old, and a lot of people expected him not to be the Floyd Mayweather that he once was, and he showed that no matter what, he's still one of the best fighters in the world today. Even at this stage in his career, he put on a very good display against Conor McGregor and took him into deep waters. He basically carried this fight because I believe Floyd Mayweather could have ended this fight a lot sooner, but he gave the fans what they wanted to see, and that's exactly what they got. They saw Conor start out early. Floyd took his time, very poised, very relaxed throughout the whole fight, never in big trouble, and he just picked his man apart. Slowly but surely, it came to an end because Conor was taking a lot of punishment. He was getting beat up in this fight. Towards the 10th round, it was all over for Conor McGregor because he was just getting hammered against the ropes, and it was just target practice for Floyd Mayweather, and the referee showed mercy and stopped the fight. There was no argument for Conor McGregor, who made perhaps $100 million in this fight, and that's the biggest payday of his entire career. He still has a huge fan base that will support him when he goes back to UFC if he ever fights again, because he really doesn't have to fight anymore. He's proven what he has proven in the mixed martial arts world, and now he's given a shot in boxing, and there's nothing else to prove because there's never going to be another big fight of this magnitude for Conor McGregor. Floyd Mayweather could ride off into the Hall of Fame because he is definitely a future first-round ballot, notching his 50th career victory. A lot of people say that this should not be number 50. It is what it is. He broke Rocky Marciano's record. He is undefeated with a perfect record etched into the boxing history books as a perfect fighter. So my hat's off to Floyd Money Mayweather. Congratulations on this big victory for boxing. It's the first time I ever rooted for Floyd Mayweather. He is one of the greatest fighters of all time. I don't put him as the best ever like he calls himself, but I have utmost respect as the best fighter pound for pound of his generation. So my hat's off to Floyd Money Mayweather. And that is my final recap on the 2 fights that took place this weekend. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning into this video. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel right here, J. Calderon Boxing Talk. Follow me on Twitter and follow me on Instagram, and join the Facebook boxing group page, all under the name J. Calderon Boxing Talk. I'm J. Calderon, Stand Clear Entertainment. Thanks for your support, and please subscribe.